what you see happening in large cities is really this cultivation of a startup ecosystem. And an accelerator is a key component of that. And they have various flavors.
Welcome to Successful Living with Bill Napick. Every week, we talk with interesting people in a variety of professions for ideas to enhance your success in all aspects of life. Successful Living with Bill Napick starts right now. Here's Bill Napick.
Welcome to the show. It is Successful Living with Bill Napick, and today we have tremendous women on the show. Today we're going to talk about healthcare in a very unique way. First, we're going to start with Aisha McCracken. She is the founder of Ignite Health Network right here in Houston. Aisha, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Delighted to be here.
And as we continue the show, it's going to unfold with amazing women, all connected to Ignite Health Network. So first of all, let's tell people as they listen, what is Ignite Health Network?
So Ignite Health Network started in 2017 as a way to bring women together, women leaders in healthcare, whether they worked in health systems, insurance companies, the large accounting firms, consultancies, tech firms. There's a lot of women involved in healthcare. 70% of the healthcare labor force is women. 80% of the healthcare purchase decisions are made by women. And yet women are not well represented in the C-suite, in the CEO positions, as an example. So if you have 70-80% of the workforce as women, yet only 13% of CEO roles are held by women. So we came together to give women a hand up and help develop the networking, the abilities, and move women into positions where they can amplify their voices in shaping the future of healthcare. One thing led to another, and we liked pitch competitions. We liked Shark Tank. And we discovered that women innovators only got maybe 3% of venture capital ideas to bring their startups to life. So we started with a pitch competition in 2017, which then moved into an accelerator. So an accelerator.
Well, go back to the pitch competition.
Sure.
How did you organize that, and what sort of venue did that take place in? It sounds like that could have been a fun thing to be a part of.
It was great fun, and it was about the time that the Texas Medical Center really launched their efforts into innovation and started their accelerator and had the TMC Innovation Facility in the medical center. So they were somewhat the wind beneath our wings. They were focused on all healthcare innovation. We were focused on the narrow slice where we could identify women doing great work and help them to succeed. So the pitch competition was held, continues to be held at the TMC Innovation Facility. But rather than simply being a pitch competition where you can hear from very dynamic, eloquent entrepreneurs about their ideas and their companies, but you really don't know what's under the hood of those startups at that point. So we have a bunch of C-suite women, chief innovation officers, chief information officers, chief operating officers. So they wanted to know more about those companies. And rather than a pitch, they said, let us get to see those companies first. Let us mentor some of them and see who really has a great idea. And then maybe we'll partner with them. And so that's how we moved from a simple pitch to an opportunity for startups to be mentored by the likes of folks at Houston Methodist, at Texas Children's, at Memorial Hermann, at Aetna, the insurance company, Banner Health in Phoenix, Hospital for Special Surgery in New York. We now have partners across the country who mentor the startups now selected for our program. So we went from a pitch competition where we had, maybe 19 or 20 applicants, now to an accelerator program where this year we had 334 companies from around the world, all led by women, medical device and digital health startups who applied for our program. and experts and VCs selected 22 that went through our accelerator program. So it's a far more substantive program supporting women leading companies that are doing novel kind of things to move healthcare forward.
And this all started here in Houston, Texas.
It all started here in Houston,
As
Texas.
an idea, there you were these few years ago, really.
Yeah.
I started to say many, but it's not that long.
No.
Just the idea of any idea that begins, and today to see it explode, as you're saying, around the country and all the people that are involved now. Right. How does that, just as a person that starts an idea, how does that feel as you sit back right now?
Well, this started as a passion project, right? Ignite Health is a nonprofit, but now we're really looking at how we can continue to grow what was just a simple idea that has just sort of blossomed, and our ability to bring money into these startups. We've helped bring in over $3 million to women who are leading startups in the last 4 years. Those companies, we've had 90 companies come through our program that were accepted to the accelerator in the last 4 years. They in total have raised north of $200 million to continue building their ideas. So we have companies that are doing great work. And to answer your question, now looking back on what's happened in just 4 short years, amazing. And what the possibilities are going forward are really exciting.
Well, we're going to talk about those possibilities. And as we look, this perfect time of year, as we look ahead, the other thing that strikes me, though, is as we just take Houston, as it is, fourth largest city, we soon to be the third, we hear, but just the talented women that are in a 5-10 mile radius of where we sit right now. It has to be.
You have one of them in the room with us today that you'll hear from. Yes.
But I mean, it just right there. That's wild to think about that. Yeah. So anyway, as you look ahead, Ignite Health Network. As you look at 2023, what are some of the things that you're looking at doing, and how this is progressing?
Yeah, it's a great question. So Houston has amazing talent, has amazing resources
and
to
more
help.
People are coming every day.
And
That's the other thing.
More people are coming every day. And our ability to identify local talent and help them succeed and build great companies in Houston, Texas is a great opportunity. The other opportunity is because we play in such a narrow niche, we're looking for women doing great work across the world, right? And what company in say the UK, Denmark, Israel doesn't want to come to the U.S. and enter the U.S. market, largest market, right, globally. So we get top talent coming from foreign countries, international sites, and we want them to come to Houston, Texas, and connect with the resources. The Texas Medical Center does not exist anywhere else, and it's a great laboratory and great partnership opportunity for women who are building companies. So we want to bring the best and the brightest to Houston. One of the other things we're looking at now in the next year is we're doing great work in Houston. How can we continue to increase our impact in Texas? So we have some great partners in Dallas. Last year we launched a Ignite group in Dallas. Women sitting in C-suite roles across healthcare companies in Dallas, 50, 60 women now. We have a great partnership with an organization, a facility called Pegasus Park that is leading innovation in biosciences in Dallas, and we're hosting a tour in our first event in Dallas so that people can have an orientation around the innovation capabilities that Dallas is creating. So we want to find women across Texas doing great work, give them examples, and inspire them to do the kinds of things that will help transform healthcare and help them succeed. So if they are building great companies that make the world a healthier place, and we can bring money into these businesses that become successful, lucrative business opportunities, we want to attract the investment community and attract more investment for women leading startups. So that's another big element of what we want to really focus on in 2023 is we've got great healthcare partners, and investment money typically sits on both coasts. In Boston and in Bay Area and New York, we want to bring some of those monies into Texas. And by the way, there's a little bit of money in Texas too, right? And so how do we activate that money that typically goes toward energy and maybe real estate and finance and just take a little small percentage of that and turn it toward investing in women doing great work?
Well, so many things are in your favor, in our favor. I mean, even just the idea, as I'm thinking about people coming to Texas from other places, from other countries,
Yes.
the reputation of our medical community right here, first of all, they've heard about it in Dubai. They've heard about it pretty much almost everywhere, I'm guessing, so that when they choose to come and they say, oh, I've talked to Aisha on the phone, when they choose to come, I bet they're like super excited on the way.
Oh, they're super excited on the way. And more, this year we had an entrepreneur from Cambridge doing some interesting work in the tumor discovery space. So these are not women coming from, somewhere unheard of. These are women who are well educated, who are building really interesting technologies. Israel has a great startup ecosystem. And so we have great partners in Israel. We partner with the Danish Innovation Hub. We partner with the UK Consulate. We partner with Austrade. So we have relationships and develop relationships where they help connect us with great startups that happen to be led by women. So they're very capable entrepreneurs who are excited to come to Houston and build partnerships and really get proof of concept for the work that they're doing.
Before we continue, let's go back to the term that you have used, and maybe other people aren't familiar with it in other industries, the accelerator. Let's talk about that right quick before we close the segment, Sure. And then let's tell people who we're going to meet. But tell us about the accelerator part.
So I think accelerators are actually becoming better.
I love the term. I'm going to use it for other things. I'm going to steal it for other things.
Go right ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what you see happening in large cities is really this cultivation of a startup ecosystem. And an accelerator is a key component of that. And they have various flavors. But what they do in general is help cultivate entrepreneurialism. I got to say that slowly. And by helping entrepreneurs develop their ideas, get them to a point where they have the beginnings of a business model, and maybe a platform, a device, a something.
Kind of spreading seeds around.
Spreading seeds around, right? And so accelerators work with companies at different levels. We don't work with them at the point where they are that early. We work with companies that already have an idea, that already have a prototype, that have what's called a minimally viable product that's ready for Houston Methodist to take and try out. Because what we have with our network of women in these C-suite roles is they can open the doors to their organizations. So when there's a company doing something really interesting to them, they can take those companies and put them into real life situations and help them pilot and help them develop their ideas into something that is scalable and can be actually commercialized. So an accelerator is an igniter. It's a way to start
kind of like Ignite, Health,
Ignite.
Network.
Yeah, you see,
we're
you're getting this. So that's really where our accelerator plugs in.
Okay, so we're going to meet 3 other super people coming up. Give us just a quick word of how that's going to unfold, who we're meeting.
Michelle Stansberry is the Vice President of Information Systems and Innovation at Houston Methodist. Houston Methodist has been a longtime partner of ours. Michelle has been at Houston Methodist for a long time, and she'll tell you how many years. But she understands the organization incredibly well and has been a phenomenal partner for Ignite because they are able to take our startups and begin to work with them. And Michelle will tell you more about her role and at Houston Methodist with innovation and how she's partnered with Ignite. Kara Doolin is one of the partners at Texas Halo Fund. Texas Halo Fund was the first VC firm to actually offer an investment prize in 2019, our first accelerator program, and they have been an incredible partner. Kara is interested in women entrepreneurs, so she in particular comes through looking at our entrepreneurs, and they've invested in a number of them. She can tell you who they are, how she picked their investments, and how they're doing, which is an important aspect. It's great to sprinkle money on women-led startups. It's great when those companies do well and they're lucrative for the VCs. So that's a critical element of our ecosystem as well. And then you're going to meet Joanna Nathan, a star local CEO. Prana Thoracic is her company. She's got an incredible background, having worked with Johnson & Johnson most recently, and now leading a device that is doing revolutionary work in the cancer identification, diagnosis, and treatment space. So we're really excited about the work that she's doing, and she can tell you more about her story.
Well, let's meet everybody. Thank you, Aisha McCracken.
Thank you so much, Bill.
At P&R Creative, your story is our motivation. We want to tell your story in a way that resonates with your target market, whether that be your employees, your investors, potential customers, or a global television and film audience. We get to know your company, your customers, your employees, your goals, and then we put together a detailed plan that maximizes what you do well and plans for improvement where you may need it. We weave together all the pieces of your story to provide consistency across marketing, communications, branding, ESG, and video storytelling. Reach out to us through our website, prcreativegroup.com. That's prcreativegroup.com, or call us at 832-553-6208. 832-553-6208. Reach out to us. As we continue, Michelle Stansberry is with us right now. She's the VP of Innovation and IT Applications right here in Houston, Texas at Methodist Hospital. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's very excited to be here.
Well, and she said you have been with Methodist for quite a while. Let's tell people roughly how many years is that?
Well, starting next year, it will be 30 years. That's sometimes a little hard for me to believe that it's been that long, but it's been a very rewarding career, and I'm very happy to have been at the organization that long. Couldn't imagine being anyplace else.
Well, and of course, right with your title, the word innovation is there, and the span of 30 years in the medical community is probably like even in technology, with the things you have seen since 30 years. A lot of innovation going on in the medical world, I guess.
Oh, there's lots. And, I will clarify, there's many types of innovations. There's clinical innovation. There's research, that has a lot of innovations. And we've done a lot of that. I mean, who doesn't know and understand Dr. DeBakey and everything that happened, right? I mean, that's considered clinical innovation. But my role and what we consider at Houston Methodist for our Center for Innovation is really focused in on digital health technology. So think of you as a patient and trying to gain access to healthcare at Houston Methodist, and how can you utilize those digital technologies?
I think my phone's going to come into play.
There
here.
you go. That digital technology that most of our consumers and patients absolutely love to use on a daily basis. Which, again, yes, your phone. We tend to use our phones for everything for you. I mean, does anyone go to the bank anymore? Does anyone go to a airline desk to do reservations for check-in? Anything? I mean, no. And so, yes, those are the things that we focus in on at Houston at our Center for Innovation.
Well, it sounds like the phone will become part of more of the medical experiences that we have, both where we have something that's an issue and then even preventative. Would that be safe to say?
It's safe to say. But, I'm going to break it down in kind of 3 areas. We are looking for digital health solutions that will create efficiencies or create the experience that our patients and consumers have come to know, or create the efficiencies for our clinicians so that they can spend more time in front of the patient and not tied to a computer. And electronic health records have been great. The electronic health companies have done well for documentation, best practices, everything. But it tends to have gotten a lot of our clinicians away from speaking directly in front of our patients and more in front of the computers. And so what we're trying to do is create solutions that really make it better, easier for our clinicians to do what they do best, which is take care of patients.
Well, and just personally speaking, the few times that I have to deal with a medical professional, a doctor, I like to talk to them. I want a connection of some sort, want to feel good, and also know that they're qualified, if not the best in their field.
Exactly. Well, it's at the heart, and you will hear this from many individuals at Houston Methodist. The patient is at the center of everything that we do. And so any decisions, the things that we do, is all about how can we provide the best quality, safety, service, and innovation for our patients and consumers and our clinicians.
And Michelle, tell us the connection with Ignite Health Network.
Well,
it seems like you all know each other in this room. I'm just a newcomer here trying to sort things out and have a little fun in the meantime. But yeah.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting.
So far that's working, isn't it?
You would think that, healthcare is so big, how could we all know each other? But ultimately it really is
this big city.
It is a very small community where we all kind of know each other. But, where Ignite comes in overall for Houston Methodist is we don't develop products. That is not at the core of what we do. We take care of patients. And so we are looking for organizations and companies who have new solutions that potentially will help solve a problem for us. And so what Ignite does is it makes it very easy for us to be able to go and preview certain organizations to see, well, what are they offering? What are they doing? Is it something that would potentially solve a problem for us that we have right now that we would like to partner with? And we're not, as I said, a development shop. We don't develop new products, I would say, from clinical research and research we do. But in this digital kind of health technology side, we're looking for companies that have a product. It's minimal viable product, yes, that you kind of heard Aisha talk about, but they're looking for a health system that will help them further develop their product and make it into something that, yes, is usable for us, but then also resellable to other big health systems as well. And so what we do, what's been so important for us, is it's a single location for us to go to be able to see multiple different potential products that we could use at Houston Methodist.
So sort of like you're going to see what resources are available that you could use, maybe what new ones are now available that weren't 2 months ago, maybe even 2 weeks ago, the way things change, right?
Exactly. I would tell you, the work that Aisha is doing, yes, is extremely beneficial for, the women innovators that are out there, but it's also extremely beneficial for the health systems because she is bringing it all together and has also done the research, of what these companies are doing. Does she, and others believe that it is a product that is worthwhile for health systems today? And so it's almost like she's doing the pre-work for us and making it available so that, we have a single location to go to. That's very important, but the also important aspect, and in being a female leader also as well, is she's promoting this aspect of also women leaders, women innovators within healthcare.
So also give us an idea of Fire Pitch. You're the judge for Fire Pitch, the accelerator program. Tell us, people, what that is.
So Fire Pitch is...
I think you'd be a good judge. I already know. I'm getting that feeling.
It's the culmination of all the hard work and effort that Aisha's put in working with all of these companies. She is ultimately putting together this Fire Pitch competition, which many will come and want to be a part of. And she's distilling it down to probably the top companies who, based on different criteria and judging previously before the big Fire Pitch competition, that are worthwhile companies to bring forward for judges to be able to look at. And so, again, being overall a judge, one, it helps me to be able to help those companies, starting to ask them different questions, getting them to think about what are the things that I, as a healthcare leader, what am I looking for? But then I'm asking them questions that are important to me so that I can know whether or not this is a company, yes, that we could support, that would be worthwhile in our organization. So it kind of works to, both advantages. It's an advantage to me to be able to see this pitch. And it's these companies and these women leaders getting up and talking about it in a very quick, I think it's 10, 15 minutes, they're pitching. What is their company? What is that their product does? How have, they've gone development? And so it's very fast paced, but it's worthwhile to be able to understand what's available that's out there.
Well, I'm not in the medical community, but I already want to attend. So who gets to go to these events? Do I have to be a medical professional?
Well, probably not, but it would probably help in something. I mean, I will tell you,
this could be a Netflix show.
Yeah,
I'm seeing entertainment here somewhere.
There you go. It very well could be, but I would tell you, most of the big major health systems, the VC firms, the venture capitalist firms, whatever, are overall involved in this event, and again, as I said, it's advantageous not only for the companies who are pitching, but advantageous for the health systems and the venture capital firms that are attending to be able to learn what these organizations are doing and how do they want to invest their time to not only help us, but to help them as the companies themselves too.
And I think also a cross-section to see just innovations that are taking place and even ideas that people have. We're talking with Michelle Stansberry. She is the VP of Innovation and IT Applications at Methodist Hospital here in Houston. Yeah, the fourth largest city in the United States, renowned for its medical community far and wide. Michelle, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know?
I would just say that, this organization and what Ignite is trying to do in Aisha, it's very worthwhile. Highly encourage any female innovators who are out there that want to see how they can grow their organization, reach out to Aisha and Ignite. It's a phenomenal organization for women leaders.
And I also want to say the website for Ignite Health is ignitehealthcare.org. That's ignitehealthcare.org. Michelle Stansberry, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. I was so happy to join this.
At P&R Creative, your story is our motivation. We want to tell your story in a way that resonates with your target market, whether that be your employees, your investors, potential customers, or a global television and film audience. We get to know your company, your customers, your employees, your goals, and then we put together a detailed plan that maximizes what you do well and plans for improvement where you may need it. We weave together all the pieces of your story to provide consistency across marketing, communications, branding, ESG, and video storytelling. Reach out to us through our website, prcreativegroup.com. That's prcreativegroup.com, or call us at 832-553-6208. 832-553-6208. Reach out to us. Let's talk to Kira Doolin. She is the Managing Director of Texas Halo Fund. Kira, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, here we are. First of all, people hear about the Texas Halo Fund. Their first question may be, let's tell people about Texas Halo Fund. What is it?
Sure. So we are an early stage investment fund. And what that means is that we're investing in the sort of companies that come through Ignite Fire Pitch. We are not just investing in healthcare companies. We're a diversified fund. So we invest in startups across industries. We're industry agnostic. And we invest across the United States as well as Canada. We invest in companies when they're pretty early on. So it would be typically considered angel stage, so early. They're typically raising maybe $500,000, upwards of $2 million when we're getting involved. And we put about 20 companies in each of our funds. We started in 2013 with Halo 1. I wasn't involved with that one. I came in 2018 with Halo 2. And we now have 4 funds. We've got about $25 million of assets under management. And yeah, like I said, we put about 20 companies in each of the funds.
So the name Halo, where did that come from?
The idea of it was just to create this fund that everybody could get involved in investing in startups. So traditionally, startup investing is done by high net worth individuals. Each company generally wants you to put about $25,000 in the companies, and the advice is that you have at least 10 companies in your portfolio. So do the math on that. That's about $250,000. Not everybody can do that. It's also been shown that doing at least 20 hours of due diligence on these startups that you're investing in yields to much higher returns. Well, in order to do that due diligence, you need some sort of background that makes it so that you can understand the companies you're looking at. And it takes a lot of time. 20 hours spread across 10 companies. If you've got other things going on, you might not have that time. So what we're trying to do is make it so that it's easier for people to invest in this asset class. Takes less time. They have the support of all of our research, our team, and we have a lot of people outside of just the Halo Fund itself who help us out with looking at these deals. So it really opens up that asset class. It doesn't take as much money as it traditionally would. It doesn't take as much time, and we try to get those high returns for people.
So tell us how that works as you're a part or work with Ignite Health Network.
Yeah, so the companies that are coming through Ignite are pretty much exactly what we're looking at as a fund. Like I said, we invest across industries. So Ignite is obviously healthcare focused, but being in Texas, we have the Texas medical system here. So we actually invest in quite a few healthcare startups. So Ignite is just another avenue for us to look at deal flow. And I would say it's it's a very, very good avenue to look at deal flow. The companies that have been coming through Ignite, they're impressive companies. They're unique in that they're vetted by so many industry professionals as they're coming through the selection. Like Aisha said, this year, I think there were over 300 applicants to Ignite. And then from there, they get an initial screening, and then they come to a series of judges. I was lucky enough to participate in that, but there's also people just across the healthcare system looking at these companies. So what you're getting is people who would use the technology, people who understand FDA pathways, people who understand commercialization, people who understand the insurance aspects of these things. And those people are all looking at these companies as they're coming through. Then beyond that, they're getting partnered with people at Houston Methodist, with people at Texas Children's, which is an incredible opportunity for them. And then they're getting whittled down from that to 7 or 8 that are pitching at the pitch competition. So what we're getting to see at that pitch competition is incredibly highly vetted, high quality companies. And we've actually invested in 5 companies through Ignite over the past 4 years that we've been involved.
So at this pitch competition, about how many applicants are there?
So at the actual pitch competition, those are the best of the best, right? They've been looked at by everyone. There's generally between 7 and 8, I believe.
Like a Super Bowl.
It is, yeah.
So that has to be fascinating.
It's great. I would encourage anybody to come.
Once again, I'm in. Just send me an invite.
Yes.
But in the meantime, also outside, are there things outside of healthcare that your fund's involved with?
Definitely, yeah.
Tell us about those, because
Yeah.
it's a big world out there.
Yeah, we've got consumer products, we've got tech, we've got energy. Like I said, we're diversified. So we're trying to just create the most diverse
And you're right
fund.
here in Houston, right?
We are. We're based in Houston, yes. Yes.
So when we talk about tech companies, give us an idea there of some of that.
Yeah, so we have one company called Arovia that makes a pop-up portable display. So if you're someone traveling and you want to have multiple monitors in front of you, this thing folds down to the size of a book, and it takes about 10 seconds to open up, and it becomes the size of a large screen monitor. So that's just one example. A lot of the healthcare companies, I tell you, are also somewhat tech-focused. We've got companies work with apps. We've got a company that we invested in out of Ignite called RX Bands that is a mini injector. So if you've ever seen EpiPens before,
Yes.
they're huge. They're unsightly, and you're supposed to carry it everywhere with you. So the founder of this company, she was running, got bit by, I believe it was a bee. She had a huge reaction to it, ended up in the emergency room. And she was told she needed an EpiPen everywhere she went. So she'd go running, and she had these things taped to her arms. Because, when you're running, you don't have a lot of space on you to put this massive EpiPen. So she created something that's the size of a lighter that can deliver that medication amongst many other medications, very effectively. So that company, it's not necessarily tech, but it has an element of that to it. So I think, it goes across.
Well, just you telling that story, I think it's fascinating. When we think about anything that's here that's available to us, whether it's a product in any field or any service even, the term necessity is the mother of invention. I mean, it just originated somewhere as an idea, as a need, and someone said, I'm going to take the time to make this happen.
Precisely. And, I think that's what's interesting about what Aisha's doing.
It's fascinating that you get to do this every day.
It is the most rewarding job to have. No, and I can't imagine doing anything else after you get to do something like this. But I think going back to that point, that's what makes what Aisha does so unique. Venture capital, traditionally, not a lot of that money goes to women founders, female founders. I'm proud to say at Texas Halo Fund, about a third of our investments are in female founders. And that's not on purpose. That's just, it's a good investment. But traditionally, like she said, it's about 3%. So if you're leaving out this entire population, you're missing so much innovation. Like you said, innovation comes from necessity. And if you're leaving out 50% of the population, you're missing a lot of that.
And what dawns on me right now is, as we're talking here at the studio, there's a window, there's cars on the 610 loop, thousands and thousands and thousands are driving as this show is broadcast Sunday at 6 p.m., 6 to 7. A woman could be listening right now that's encouraged, or also that may want to reach out to you all around here in Houston, but also as the internet platform goes beyond our city limits. So it's fascinating how we can touch people, how your organization, how Ignite Health Network can also touch people and women around the world, really.
Definitely, and I think that's so great.
Well, let's tell people, here we are at the end of the year for your fascinating role in your fascinating company. I want to hang with you a couple days just to see what's on the boards for 2023.
Let's do it.
What kind of things and opportunities do you see emerging in the sunrises of opportunity ahead?
I think we're just going to
be a wild year.
Yeah, we're just going to see more and more amazing companies coming through. We've got a wonderful portfolio of companies, and I think a lot of them are going to be up to some really interesting things in 2023. So I look forward to seeing that.
And are people reaching out to you, Kira, from outside of Houston?
Definitely.
So yes. People are aware of Houston for so many reasons. Isn't it amazing?
As they should be. It's a great city.
You ought to be an ambassador for the city as well.
One day.
So many things. We're talking with Kira Doolin. She is the managing director of the Texas Halo Fund. Oh, yeah, right here in Texas. Kira, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know? Is there a website, or what else should they know about what you're doing?
TexasHaloFund.com. Please reach out. And what I would say is, if you're interested in innovation, if you're interested in startups, please go to these pitch competitions. Definitely check out Ignite Healthcare, the pitch competition next year. It is worth going to, and you don't need to know anything about healthcare or, venture capital funding to attend these things and just to start getting your feet wet.
And, just a wild idea. Sometimes my imagination runs, and that is, what if Elon Musk what if he calls you? He might have an idea or two and need some money. He might need some financing outside of his own account.
I think we might be a little out of our league, but you never know.
You never know. All right. Once again, the website is
TexasHaloFund.com.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.
At P&R Creative, your story is our motivation. We want to tell your story in a way that resonates with your target market, whether that be your employees, your investors, potential customers, or a global television and film audience. We get to know your company, your customers, your employees, your goals, and then we put together a detailed plan that maximizes what you do well and plans for improvement where you may need it. We weave together all the pieces of your story to provide consistency across marketing, communications, branding, ESG, and video storytelling. Reach out to us through our website, prcreativegroup.com. That's prcreativegroup.com, or call us at 832-553-6208. 832-553-6208. Reach out to us. Wow, this is so fascinating. Now it's time to talk to Joanna Nathan. Her company is Prana Thoracic. Joanna, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So here we are. Let's tell people the company again, Prana Thoracic. Did I say it right?
Yep, that's right.
Let's tell people what you do there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the CEO and co-founder of Prana Thoracic. where we are building the future of early intervention in lung cancer. So we are an early stage medical device company that is working on a way to more minimally invasively intervene earlier in that lung cancer patient's journey so that we can have better outcomes for those patients.
Well, it's so interesting and good to hear that there's things that are preventive to prevent us from having big problems in any kind of disease, but you actually have some kind of device that's helping in this prevention.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so lung cancer is a really challenging and devastating disease, particularly in the speed in which it progresses. So today, if a patient is diagnosed with lung cancer, there is a 50 to 60% chance that they do not make it through the next year. And that's because we typically catch it so late right now. One of the reasons for this is, unlike prostate, breast, other cancers, we haven't historically screened for lung cancer. And that's only just now starting to change. So we're starting to screen, high-risk patients that were smokers within a certain age range now for lung cancer. And we're starting to find things in their lungs because if you were a smoker for a certain number of years, there's going to be something that shows up in your lungs on CT. And what we are enabling is a way to then, from that screening step, go figure out exactly what is going on in that patient's lungs so they can have a definitive answer as to whether or not they have cancer. Right now, a lot of the time they get sent home and told to come back every 6 months for another image. And I know, I don't know how you feel about that, but if someone told me there's something going on in my lungs, but,
I gotta wait 6 months.
I wouldn't want to wait. So,
that would be a whole nother thing. But how did you get into this field? Of all the things you could be in, of all the parts of the medical world that you could be in, how did you get into this and develop this product?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am
actually... Or is it a product line, or is it just one thing?
It's a product line, but we're starting with, focusing on one.
Yeah, how exciting. Yeah.
So I'm actually a bioengineer by training. I'm not, a native Houstonian, but I moved here to go to Rice when, right after high school. And one of the reasons I went to Rice is because of its reputation in bioengineering and nanotechnology. And I was extremely excited about, working in that world. When I was at Rice as a college student, though, nanotechnology was the thing I was really excited about. I got to do some benchtop research in that space when I was there, and I realized very quickly the lab was not, my space or necessarily where I wanted to be. And then through my program at Rice, I discovered medical devices, and I realized, with medical device development, you can go from an idea to something that is touching patients that is in, the clinic or in the OR within a few years. And I'm just kind of impatient. And so I didn't have, the patience, I guess, to stick around with some of that more basic earlier research. And I really wanted to do something more translational. So that's how I ended up in this world of medical devices. I had some great mentors, Dr. Mehdi Razavi at the Texas Heart Institute that helped me shepherd me into the space. And I actually spent the last few years at Johnson & Johnson and at other roles supporting founders, so supporting entrepreneurs, with that investor mindset, kind of like Kira talked about, helping evaluate technologies. But just through some experiences of my own, I realized I wanted to be the founder. I wanted to be the one driving a team, driving a technology forward to the patients. And so that's how I ended up at Prana.
Well, technology is one thing in the medical community, but then when you bring in the aspect of the nanotechnology, I mean, going into and we're talking small, right?
Yeah,
and that's the understatement. But when we're talking about nanotechnology and small things, small devices, small openings, how small are we talking about? Like that, the head of a pin or a hair follicle or what?
Yeah. So nanotechnology
pretty
can
small.
get.
If you're out there driving, don't crash.
Yes, definitely.
That's the kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Very tiny things. Prana is not yet nano or that minimally invasive. Maybe we'll get there. But right now we're talking about, instead of a procedure where you'd have to do, up to a multi-centimeter cut in 3 different places, spread the ribs open. It sounds very gruesome because it is. It's a very difficult procedure to access lungs right now. We're talking about doing something through, a centimeter little cut and going through your ribs to go get whatever's going on in your lungs.
Well, we just live in a fascinating time as I reflect. Don't you think so?
Yeah,
it's amazing.
absolutely.
And who knows what's around the corner. Now, we want to hit this part.
Yep.
You are Joanna Nathan, CEO Prana Thoracic. So you are the winner of one of these competitions. Congratulations,
Thank
number
you.
one. Belated, no doubt. But tell us how that feels and how you presented your product to these judges.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
I would fall apart. I'm just saying. But go ahead.
Yeah, I think, for me, the appeal of kind of that CEO role for of Prana and of any of these early stage companies is really the storytelling aspect. And I think that's what's so important in these early stages, is being able to tell a complicated story about a complicated technology in a complicated industry with so many different stakeholders, and distill that down to 5 to 10 minutes to tell that story. And I think that's what Ignite helped us do, is kind of craft that story, help myself and all of kind of my fellow finalists craft that story in the best way possible to for that audience to understand the problem we were trying to solve.
Storytelling is so important, and many people realize that you could have the greatest thing in the world, but if you can't get that across, if you can't touch emotionally the audience who you're talking to, it may not get off the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did you figure out the part about the storytelling?
So I think,
You took the elements, I guess, of the product, but how did you make that connection?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for me, I am a bioengineer originally by training, but I also did go back and get my MBA, a business degree. And so that helped me kind of putting those worlds together, I think helped me be able to think about strategy in addition to technology. And then specifically within the Ignite program, Aisha and her team put us in front of people that, we never would have had access to otherwise. So our mentor for Prana specifically was Wenji Miao. She's the chief operating officer at Texas Health Resources. And, that kind of person normally an early stage startup would never have access to talk through in a safe setting and be able to kind of have that conversation where they're giving you feedback, and it's not in this kind of scary, you're being judged way, but more in that mentorship and, in that kind of mentorship way. So I think that piece, having that kind of access to those mentors, that's where Ignite really helped kind of craft that story, or helped us craft that story, is in providing us access to the people that could help us think about it from all the different lenses.
I'm also guessing that they connected to your passion and excitement and smarts to make this all happen.
Yeah, I think
it's unreal.
My fellow finalists as well. So the other piece that I think that was so important that I learned through this process was entrepreneurship is really lonely. Being a female founder is even more lonely, and in a male-dominated field, as Aisha was talking about. And I think for me,
listen, the males don't have a chance. I'm in this room just for a few minutes. Good luck, guys. Just saying.
But I guess what was so wonderful too was just the community that this program provided. Folks that I've continued to stay in touch with, other finalists, other female founders that are going through it, and maybe they're not solving the exact same problem that you are, or building the exact same solution or anything like that, but they can relate with that founder journey and how difficult it can be to build something from the ground up. And just being surrounded by other people that think like that is such a huge benefit, and was such a huge benefit of this program as well.
Well, we could talk for hours, but we're out of time. I'm so sorry. Joanna, let's tell people how they can learn more about your company.
Absolutely. So you can go to pranathoracic.com, pranathoracic.com.
One more time.
pranathoracic.com. Spell it out again. Yeah. pranathoracic.com.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
At P&R Creative, your story is our motivation. We want to tell your story in a way that resonates with your target market, whether that be your employees, your investors, potential customers, or a global television and film audience. We get to know your company, your customers, your employees, your goals, and then we put together a detailed plan that maximizes what you do well and plans for improvement where you may need it. We weave together all the pieces of your story to provide consistency across marketing, communications, branding, ESG, and video storytelling. Reach out to us through our website, prcreativegroup.com. That's prcreativegroup.com, or call us at 832-553-6208. 832-553-6208. Reach out to us. What a show. Thank you all for listening. And now she is back, Aisha McCracken. She is the founder of Ignite Health Network. Aisha, before we close the show, what else do you want people to know? This has been just fascinating.
Well, I hope that you can see the amazing work being done by Ignite, bringing together the intellect and the capabilities of incredible female entrepreneurs and the ecosystem that we've created to really accelerate and ignite their future success.
And I hope you all come back. It's just tremendous. So once again, let's tell people the website.
The website is ignitehealthcare.org.
And thank you all for listening to Successful Living with Bill Napick. And today, the team and the group of wonderful women right here, Ignite Health Network, and Jenna Jackson with P&R Creative, who put this show together. Once again, thank you all for listening. Go to prcreative.com. And, of course, my website is radiobill.net. We will see you next time, and thanks so much for listening. Thank you, Aisha.
Thank you, Bill.
At P&R Creative, your story is our motivation. We want to tell your story in a way that resonates with your target market, whether that be your employees, your investors, potential customers, or a global television and film audience. We get to know your company, your customers, your employees, your goals, and then we put together a detailed plan that maximizes what you do well and plans for improvement where you may need it. We weave together all the pieces of your story to provide consistency across marketing, communications, branding, ESG, and video storytelling. Reach out to us through our website, prcreativegroup.com. That's prcreativegroup.com, or call us at 832-553-6208. 832-553-6208. Reach out to us.
Bill Napick has produced another show, Successful Living with Bill Napick, one of the most unique programs of its kind. Sundays from 6 to 7 p.m. on AM 950 KPRC. Successful Living with Bill Napick. Go to radiobill.net for more info.